Hey there. Excuse me. Hey there. Welcome to another edition of Real Talk, also known as Real Folk Talk. But this time, we're going to deviate a little bit from the regularly scheduled programming and regularly scheduled way of doing things for an introspective. And we're going to call this one Andrew Tate, A Second Look. Now, I will be first to say, full disclosure, that I didn't like the man at all. Didn't like what he stood for, didn't like the way he said things, didn't like him. Full stop. And then I had the pleasure of hearing him again. This time I heard him on a special episode of Just Pearly Things. This was their 100th episode. Shout out to Just Pearly Things and everybody that does the thing on that show on a daily. It is most appreciated, and I hope you do more and have better things come your way. But I watched the show. It's 3 hours and some change. It's a long show. But I did watch it. And wound up giving myself a double take on several things. Because a lot of what I thought he was about, he actually isn't about. He is, to put it bluntly, Kevin Samuels 2.0. And I say that because they both have the same criticisms and critiques of themselves. And I also go so far as to say, it isn't what they say that offends people. It's the way they say it. And the way they say it fits in very nicely, with their intended audience. Mr. Samuels started out with men and then graduated to women. Mr. Tate has always geared his content toward men. And both Mr. Samuels and Mr. Tate tend to look at women as a stepping stone to bigger and better things. Now, I'm not saying it's stepping stones in a negative sort of way. It's not at all. Not even close to being negative. It is more along the lines of get them on board and they'll make your life better. But beware of this, this, and this, because these things will not make your life better. If anything, they'll make your life worse. So it's not, and the way they say it, both men deal with statistics and facts. The facts in and of themselves, because of today's society and the way things are geared and the progression that they like to make, is going to be subject to pushback. And the closer the truth hits to home, the larger the pushback. I'm going to play for you a little snippet.
A woman, the more trauma she goes through,
of what has transpired, and then we're going to break it down and talk about it. Okay, here we go. Have at it.
You were going to be on and we were going to be on this panel together. I started watching a bunch of your videos, and it really was like, there's so much that you have been through, which is why you have a well of wisdom, right? And the difference between me and you is that you're glorified for it, and I am burned at the stake for everything that I've been through. And it's so funny because people have always said that we were two sides of the same coin as far.
Full context. The lady speaking now is Brittany Renner, the infamous person who got internet famous by basically sleeping her way through society's elite. And her question to Mr. Tate is, what advice would you give me, being that we both are different sides of the same coin? Now, after she asked the question, listen to what Mr. Tate has to say, and then we'll discuss it. Sorry to stop you real quick like that, but I had to lay down the ground rules as to what was going on so that you'd have a better understanding as to why he says what he says.
As far as like, well, if Andrew Tate gets banned, Brittany Renner should get banned, because we are all about accountability and fucking truth, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been through a lot, I've been through a lot. I'm seen as used goods, you're seen as a high value man.
Yeah.
So if you're me, then what? What's next?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's interesting you make that observation, and you are correct. That's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. It's unfair, I guess. The world's not fair, but that's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. Men are respected for going through things and surviving, and women are the complete opposite. They're shamed.
Okay. He acknowledges that there's a double standard. And he feels that it isn't fair, but it is what it is. And that's something that I've said on countless podcasts before, and I'll say it till I can't speak anymore. It isn't fair. It isn't just. But it is what it is. And it is reality. And people need to get on board with reality. Not his truth, not her truth, the truth. You got tons of people in general, and modern women in particular, who tend to speak in the first person. I feel, in my opinion, in my worldview, in my experience, and in and of itself, those things are not bad. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. They're not bad. But when you start to use these anecdotes and things, when you're talking about generalities, you run into problems. Because we're not speaking about a particular instance. We're not speaking about something that happened in a specific time frame or a specific point in time. We're talking about generalities. And in speaking of generalities, exceptions don't make the rule. What else can be said? What you said is valid and true to your viewpoint. Now, when your viewpoint starts to echo other viewpoints, it begins to gain traction and becomes more accepted. And you can change the rule. But until such time, it's just an opinion. Let's get back to the video.
For going through things and surviving. If you look at women love scars on men for a reason. He's gone through something.
They're
lived.
war wounds.
Yeah, they're war. Men don't want a chick covered in scars. I'll say this right now, that a woman, the more trauma she goes through, the more masculine she naturally becomes. And if you were to give me my ideal woman, I would not have wanted her to have a hard life and a bunch of trauma. I like the idea of her having a soft feminine life and being a soft person, and I can take care of her and protect her. Whereas As a man, to be a good man, you need to have been through a bunch of trauma, because if you haven't been through trauma as a man, you're a weakling. You have to have been through a bunch of shit. So the masculine and the feminine is a very interesting point there. As for, I don't know your history, I don't know the past, but we can just talk in generalizations in regards
People
to
like me, I guess, under the same umbrella. It doesn't have to be personal.
I don't know any of it, but we'll give generalizations. One of the main reasons that men are scared of a female with history is because it makes the man insecure.
Okay.
And scared dogs bite. So this is why men will snap or get angry quick, or they'll bring up your if you get in an argument with him, he'll bring up your history, whatever. But a lot of it is insecurity, and it's not insecurity because the man is insecure. The female paradigm in society convinces men, any man who says anything, you're insecure. It's not insecure in that way. It's insecure in a very realistic, logical way. Like I was saying earlier, she's had a lot of life experience. Let's be honest. Am I the richest guy she's ever had? No. Am I the most famous guy she's ever had? No. Am I the best looking guy she's ever had? No. Like, what's keeping her here? And then part of it comes down to, well, am I second place? If she could do better, would she do better? Like, there's a whole bunch of insecurity involved. And that's where tiny things, like I know it sounds like dumb shit, tiny things about the favorite car brand become more important than ever, right? It's your job as a woman, regardless of how much sexual history you've had or what guy you're with, etc. It's your job as a woman to make your man feel secure in the fact and make him feel like a man. Like Auntie was saying, make him feel like the man no matter what he does, so that he feels like you really truly believe he's the best choice for you on the planet. That's your job to do. Now, if you've had a checkered past, that's perhaps more difficult. You need to be more tactful with it, more tactical about it. But you have to achieve the same result. You have to do the exact same thing, right? So, yeah, it's easy for me if I get a 21-year-old virgin from some village in Slovakia and I'm multi-millionaire Andrew Tate. Of course, it's a very easy, she's never had better, she'll never get better, she's never been anywhere, boom, boom, easy one, right? But like you said, the world's not so idealistic. The reality is that people have had relationships, etc., etc. But a man is happiest in the relationship when he feels like man of the house and when he truly feels like you believe he's the best man that you could possibly ever get and have ever gotten. Because a man is jealous. I'll tell you something. I used to say this to girls as like a joke. And I used to say, truth in jest. I used to say it, no, but I say it as a joke. I say, you cheated on me before I met you. And she'd be like, what do you mean? I didn't even know you. It's like, yeah, you fucked that guy before I even knew you. You cheated on me. And they used to laugh, whatever. But that's how men think. That's the male mind. Like, I love you. And you've been fucked by who? But I didn't know you. I don't care if you knew me. You should have waited. What do you mean you didn't? But that's the male mind. So he...
It is statements like that that have swayed me more to Andrew Tate's cause. Because what he said there, you can't argue with. And I've said it too. It comes off as a joke. You cheated on me before I met you. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. But I didn't know you yet. I don't care. And that's what it boils down to. And that's why myself and countless others have said men worry about a woman's past, where a woman worries about a man's future. You don't have to know a person to know that they have a past. And that's why I've always said, and I'll say it again until the day I stop talking, is I don't want to know your past. I don't want to know it. If it's too much for me to handle, it'll come out in the wash, and I'll deal with it when I have to deal with it. All this talk about him being canceled, this, that, and the other thing. If he speaks like this most of the time, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'll say he speaks about this most of the time, there's no reason to cancel him. Unless he got too close to home. He get too close to the belt, and he was speaking truth to power to people who were very, very uncomfortable with it. That's the only reason why he would see him be canceled. Does he live the lifestyle he lives? Yes. Does he say the things he says? Does he practice what he preaches? Yes, I believe he does. Right up till the time that I'm proven otherwise. And then I'll reevaluate what I said and have another opinion. But the man speaks facts. Let's listen to a little bit more of it.
Is it competition with all of your exes and all of your lifestyle and all the things you've done permanently. And it's down to you as a woman to sit there and go, how do I make him secure in himself and secure in his masculinity and make him believe that investing in me is still worthwhile because I still truly value him, despite the fact that I could do X, Y, Z. I hope that gives some clarity, but that's the answer.
So how do you know what I would have said? I would have said, oh, for anybody in that situation, come off social media and just raise your child. So the person who meets you's got nothing to. Like, I never knew you. I never knew who you were because I've never heard of you before. So when I spoke to you, by the way the way you're saying like what's on the internet, let me just say, you're a nicer person than what you sound like what you perceive to be. Mm-hmm. Like you were saying, oh, that Pearl's got, oh, there she's a whore, and I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about you. And I was saying that if you didn't have nothing on social media about your checkered past, and you met somebody the same way how I met you and I conversed and I got to know you, is the same way that they would.
Yeah, and it is interesting, and it's also back to the masculine and feminine, right? Because I'm all over the internet, and supposedly I'm misogynist and I'm evil and all this crap, right? But if I meet a girl, even if she disagrees with me, in fact, I'll say this, I've never ever met a single female who's ever come up to me and disagreed with me. Every woman comes up to me and loves what I say. But let's imagine I met this imaginary girl, she was sitting with me. And if I were to have a 10-minute conversation with her, by the time I explained the level to which they tried to destroy me, how they tried to freeze all my bank accounts, raise illegal charges against me, put me in jail for things I didn't do, put a travel ban, take my passport, all this garbage. By the time I explain how hard they tried to hurt me and failed, she'll want me. Because she'll be like, you can't kill this guy. And that's going to be it. Like, you say a bunch of shit I don't like, but you know what? You're the man. So it is about experience, and it is different. And that's a really good point about social media. Social media amplifies all of this shit. It amplifies all these problems. Everything we're discussing, everything we've discussed back to the beginning, from status to promiscuity to your past, it's all social media. Without social media, a lot of it goes away.
Yeah. And I think that's why me and my man last so long, is that he doesn't do social media, and there's nothing on there about me.
I feel like, to answer your question too, because I have had people say that as a solution, and it's like, you can run but you cannot hide from the truth. Mm-hmm. And I have shared why my voice has been so impactful and will continue to be impactful is because I have put myself out there and I have been punished for being honest. So it's like, I have been given a platform and a voice for a reason. Even
Brittany Renner, not so much. I stopped her because my dislike for her stems from the fact that if she doesn't do what she did, she doesn't get with the NFL player, she doesn't get with the basketball player, this, that, and the other, you don't hear from her. You don't know her. She's trying to do a Madonna, and I say that because Madonna liked to parlay from one scenario to another, accentuating her strengths, downplaying her weaknesses, and simply just riding the waves. To where now she doesn't have to, and you don't hear from her very much anymore. But this one here, she feels she's been getting a platform for a reason. I don't know if that's true or not. So I can't comment on it. But what I can comment on, and what I will comment on, it's a simple fact that she's not a nice person. You can smile. You can say and do all the right things. All that good stuff. But there's just something about it I don't like.
Even sitting down in this conversation thinking there's not one person I'm probably going to agree with and probably going to want to leave, I've been called here for a reason. So it's like I can't go against what is in my heart and what I am coded to be. And that's why I feel like it's important for me to sit here and represent people who feel like me, because it's like I don't want to say I didn't choose. I don't even want to say that. I just feel like I don't see a lot of women under my umbrella who feel the way that I feel. I don't see opinions shared that would be worded the way that I feel. Nothing. I feel like a lot of my thoughts are very unique, and it's kind of scary because I have been through different things. I see the world in a different place, and when I even speak online, people think I'm fucking speaking Swahili.
Yeah.
So it's like.
They think you're speaking Swahili because you're talking out the side of your neck.
I know exactly what you're saying, and you're making good points. And it's just, I think that regardless of whether, like, we're talking about different positions. I compare everything to chess. I know it's annoying. We're looking at different positions on the chessboard, but the rules are still the same, right?
Okay.
No matter how bad your position is or how good your position is, you're still trying to achieve the same objectives. And you want the man to get high status, and you want the man to feel secure in himself. And I think it's very difficult. I can only talk from the male perspective because I am a man. It is very difficult if I were to meet a woman who I liked very much, but she had X whatever, past whatever. My concerns would be, how do I know that I'm still the number one? How do I know I'm most important in her life, especially if I don't measure up in certain key metrics? And two, the second thing that's most scary for men is we understand that men are constantly after what we have. Like, your inboxes are all full. Like, they may not be with guys you want to reply to, but guys are still trying to get it. That's the male life. The male life is people are trying to take everything from me. And that's very scary, and you have to make your man really believe like that's impossible. If a man truly believes that nobody can take you from him, he's going to love you in a different way. You can give me 2 carbon copies of the same chick, but one I think might cheat in the right circumstances, and one I know no matter what would never leave me. The love I'll feel for this one is a different planet to the love I feel for this one.
I can find no flaws in his logic. And it's true. Men are constantly predator and prey. Reminds me of a song by George Clinton called Bulletproof, when he says, every day I read in the paper there's a brand new house spot because so-and-so somewhere want to take what so-and-so's got. And that is the male life in its purest form. So-and-so somewhere want to take what so-and-so's got. That looks good. I think I want it. And when you put on top of that the insecurities and the fears, because what if I'm not as good as so-and-so? What if I don't do what so-and-so does? What if I don't feel what so-and-so does? It can be it can be terrifying. And Mr. Tate just laid it out very, very plainly and clearly. And once again, this ties into a recurring theme that I have from another podcast that I do called How to Survive a Podcast. He does expand and go into detail about what he talks about. But in the first instance, it is clear, it is concise, and it's to the point. He then will go into his reasonings why he feels the way he feels. And it all dovetails in very nicely to his ending point. He sticks the landing. A little bit more, and then we'll talk about it a bit more and close it up.
Even though they're the same person, right? because that's every man's biggest fear, is a woman cheating or leaving, because there's something visceral and something different about it. I know I talk things and I say men can do things and women can't and all this stuff, but like if a woman cheats on a man, that hurts the man at a level that it doesn't hurt the woman if the man cheats on her. It's different. It's different biologically. It's different evolutionarily. Like, that's what men used to fight and die over. You talk to my chick. You look
It's
at
like
my
you cut
chick.
his dick off.
Yeah, it's like you demasculinize him on every level. Like, and this is why you see these TikToks, right? You see these TikToks. Me and my man went on a break, got back together. He fucked 20 girls, and now he's crying because I went on a date. Yes, completely yes. Because the damage level is different. It's just a different thing. So you have to understand the paradigms. You have to understand to play the game, and that's how you make men happy. And I know very well how I like to believe that I would know very well how to make a woman happy. And I know, and whether I do that or not is a conscious decision. And that's where you get to a certain level of grandmastery, where if I get a woman, I will literally decide out of 10, how happy do I want her? Does she deserve to be happy 10? Or should I keep her like crying half the time? That it's very conscious, and women don't think that way. But I'm saying, if you're a cunning woman, you could be like that. You could be a bit more like, you know what? I want him infatuated with me. This guy ain't worth the time. That guy I want. And then when you're going to do that, just like the game of chess, if you play chess, it's not big moves that make you lose. It's small positional plays. It's that time you argued about your favorite car. It's the time you disagreed with him about the favorite band. It's the dumb shit that adds up. Whereas really, truthfully, if you're truly smart about the game, you can get him to a point after a few months where he's like, she's my soulmate. She loves everything I love. We think the same. Our hearts are connected. Boom. And then you're safe. Just don't fuck it up from there. That's the game.
But I just feel like it's so contradicting to feel like what your overall message is, which is about truth. So it's like, if my truth, like if it can be destroyed by the truth, it should be destroyed by the truth. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, why?
No, that's not what he's saying. Because the truth should never be weaponized. You shouldn't want to destroy someone with the truth. Now, she might be saying along the lines of, if the truth is going to be destructive, then so be it. But even then, I'd say, why would you want to do that? The golden rule, as stated by the Bible, is to do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. Which means treat them the way you want to be treated. Now, if you feel that crapping on people is your style, then so be it. Once again, just beware of the consequences. Because you will have that visited upon you tenfold. You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind. I have a different opinion upon Andrew Tate after watching that video. Now, it's about 3 hours and 9 minutes. It talks about a lot of different things. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of tension. There's laughter. It's the whole package. And it is highly recommended viewing. I can't recommend that enough. And the host, Pearl, has received a lot of pushback from YouTube regarding it. They have limited it, this monetization. They slapped a age restriction on it and all that other good stuff. And to her, I simply say, don't worry about it. Because the more they try to stop it, the more people are going to want to watch it. It's like that group Right Said Fred. No, not Right Said Fred. Was it Right Said Fred? No, Frankie Goes to Hollywood with Relax. The song Relax. It would have done okay. And it faded to oblivion. Until MTV decided to ban it. And what happened to that song after MTV publicly decided to ban it. It went through the roof. Because people want to hear why they can't hear. People want to hear why they can't hear something. They want to know it for themselves. If you want something to go away, ignore it. Sooner or later, more sooner than more oftentimes than later, especially in today's climate, people will get tired of it and move on to the next thing. But bring attention to it, you're feeding it oxygen. It's going to live a whole lot longer than it would have normally. But that's neither here nor there. As I said before, shout out to Mr. Andrew Tate. In this video, he didn't say very much that I couldn't get behind. I co-signed most of it. And just listening to him talk, you get the idea that he can be a nice man. He is opinionated. He has reasonings and that sort of thing behind it. And he speaks it. I find no fault with what he's saying. I don't understand why he was canceled, why all the people went against him, why he has the hatred and vitriol that he has. Teach their own. That's going to do it for today's episode. Before we go, we're going to tell you about the rule of 5. Like, comment, subscribe, notify, sharing. Those 5 independent actions will help boost the YouTube algorithm and get our content out to more and more people. But I will say this, the most impactful version will simply be to like it. Takes a second at your time. It's completely and totally free. And the more people hit the like button, the more the algorithm passes out to more people. The more people tune in, the more people get educated. And the more love we spread. And with that, we're gonna close the curtains on this show. Until the next. This is OBJ saying peace to you all. Be safe out there. And good day.